I had just landed in San Francisco airport. I was 7 years old. I'm on PSA Airlines, and my parents had promised me that my summer vacation I could spend with my grandmother in San Francisco. So there I am in the front of the plane, you know, where all the beverages are at, and I'm waiting for the stewardesses to open the door. So I'm waiting. 7 years old, I'm waiting. Finally, they open up the door. I go running down the plankway. I'm looking, there's my grandmother, and I jump into her arms, and he hugs me so tight, like, Granny, it is good to see you, and I love you, Granny. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and good-looking judges, by the way. So there I am in San Francisco airport with my grandmother. We're headed back to her house. Now, my grandmother had a laundromat. And behind the laundromat, she had this one-bedroom apartment. So I'm just excited because I know she has all these plans for me for the summer vacation. So there we go. I got all my bags unpacked. And I asked my granny, so Granny, when are we going to the zoo? And she said, Mark, we're going to the zoo on Thursday. I'm like, okay, so what day are we at right now? Because I want to know how many days I have to wait before we can get to the zoo. So finally, Thursday shows up, okay? So we're in the kitchen, you know, I'm having a little bit of breakfast. My grandmother is there washing dishes, and she had this little dog, little black and white dog. And I had played with the dog a little bit, you know, it was a nice little dog. So I had finished my cereal, and I noticed the dog didn't have any water, right? So I noticed his bowl was over here. So I got down out of the chair, I grabbed the bowl and walked over to where the dog was eating. Well, he grabbed me with his mouth and I started yelling, oh, Granny, he's biting me. So she ran over and grabbed me. He said, don't worry, Marky. She called me Marky, just to let you know. She said, Marky, don't worry, you're going to be just fine. So she set me down. She kissed it like grandparents normally do. She kissed it, put a little Bactine on it and a Band-Aid, and I was feeling a lot better. So she took me and said, okay, Marky, we're going to put you in the room for a couple of hours so you can relax. So we're not leaving for a couple of hours. She closed the door. The next thing I know, her and that dog are having it out. All right, all right. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I felt really bad. Now don't worry, the dog wasn't hurt or anything, but you know what? That dog didn't play with me anymore. What is going on with the dog? So later that day, we got ready to go to the zoo, because that's what we're doing. So we went to the zoo. Oh my God, it was just an amazing trip to the zoo. I got my zoo hat on, my animals. We just had a great time at the zoo. So we came back, and now I have a chance to play with my grandpa Fred, who was there. And so we're in the room playing with all my zoo toys and hats and balls. And my grandpa picked me up, you know, at playing with me. He picked me, you know, moving around like that. And somehow he dropped me. And I don't know how he dropped me. But when he dropped me, I hit the corner of the coffee table. And I still have the mark on my eye, and it started bleeding. Uh-oh, here comes come on, Granny's coming running over toward me. She picked me up. She gave me a kiss. She said, don't worry, Marky, it is going to be okay. So she put a little Bactine on it and a Band-Aid. She said, okay, Mark, I'm going to put you in the room for a couple of minutes while I talk to your grandfather, close the door. Next thing I know, well, I told you to watch him, be careful with that little boy. I don't want him off. Did it up before we sent him back. So they went into their thing. So my grandpa felt really bad. So he said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Mark with me to the golf course tomorrow because I'm going to play golf. So that was really good because I got a chance to drive around the golf course, and I'd get out sometimes to hit the ball and then get back in. You know, it was just a fun trip. And I really loved it. And that is, to me, what grandparents do. They invest in those kids. They bless them. And I am just grateful that I am who I am, and my grandmother was who she was. About 8 years later, we lived in a city called Palmdale. And my grandmother moved out to Palmdale. And I thought it was great because this gives me more chance to be with my grandmother. And one day my grandmother calls me up, says, Mark, get ready, I'm going to take you for a ride. I said, well, where are we going? She says, today you are going to get a job. That's what you're going to do today. So she made up her mind I was going to get a job. I'm like 15 and a half or so. So we hit every single fast food down Palmdale Boulevard, Carl Jr., Jack in the Box. We ended up at McDonald's, right? We're at McDonald's. And I'm in McDonald's because I've been filling out applications all day. So I'm in McDonald's filling out the application. Here come my granny walking in. Okay, And she starts talking to the manager. I'm like, what is she talking to the manager about? So we left, okay? About 3 days later, I got a call from the manager. I got the job. And I don't know what she said to him, but it worked. No matter what, it worked. Now here's the interesting thing. About, I'd say 7 years later, she was babysitting for a gentleman who worked for the Department of Water Resources. And she recommended me to him. I was only like 20, 21. And it come to be, I got the job with the State Water Project. I have been with the State Water Project for 30 years.
Wow.
Thanks to my grandmother. Thanks to her. Today, my main goal, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, is for us to really appreciate the grandparents that we have in our lives, because I know my grandmother made a difference in my life. I want to go back to that time when I was running down that gateway looking for my grandmother, and I knew there was something that she was seeing, and I finally talked to my mother about this. About 10 years before that trip to San Francisco, my grandmother lost 2 sons to an automobile accident. One's name is Dennis and one's name is Michelle. Michelle and I kind of looked alike. So I would imagine that as I was running down that plankway, she saw one of her sons coming back home. I always thought about that. So my grandmother, in her infinite wisdom, not only gave the love that she was going to give me, she gave the love that was for my uncles that weren't there. That's what she did. So today, I want us to remember our current grandparents and our future grandparents. Anybody know what day Grandparents' Day is? I'll tell you. It's September 8th this year, Sunday. So let's honor our grandparents. It's Toastmasters.
Until they're done. Observe until they're completed. And the ballot collectors collect everything, okay? Okay. Very good.